Wowzers! There are 4 new combat patrols announced, so you know what that means. Let's look at them savings and see how good they are. The first is the Aeldari Corsairs combat patrol. Instantly, it looks pretty good because of that Falcon/Wraith Serpent. And at a guess, because we don't yet know the price of the individual releases, I am guessing it has a value of around £150 to £155 worth of models inside it. Because Eldar models are weirdly expensive compared to other Xenos. That's around £45 to £50 worth of savings, which is pretty good. It gives you a very mobile force, though I am slightly concerned about the lack of weapon options shown in the Corsairs. There's no heavy weapon, no bird, no psyker. Makes me think that those parts of the sprue are missing in the non-kill team release, which will be very sad if that's the case. If you did get the new Corsair Battle Force, you might find that with this you'll have too many flappy chappies, because they may not be expensive points-wise, but they're not particularly powerful either. I don't really see a great use of having more than 10 of them. That being said, 15 of them might not actually be bad. The other downside to them is no character in the Aeldari can join the Corsair flying unit, which is unfortunate. You'll also find that you'll have a second copy of a named character, which can easily be proxied or kit-bashed into a Farseer or Warlock, but neither of them can join any of the Corsair units, which is a bit sad. That being said, it can combo relatively well into the current Eldar Combat Patrol. The Warp Spiders also bring with them some good mobility, Wraithguard brings some much needed toughness, and quite a bit of killiness. The Dire Offenders are also very good at helping hold objectives. It is a good start to an army as well, as you get a decent vehicle, which is always a nice bonus, and none of these units are exactly bad. You should also have plenty of spare parts to do future kit bashes with, and personally I quite like using the Corsair bits to bring my other Eldar units into the Corsair aesthetic. The second box is the Red Corsairs, a Chaos Combat Patrol, and I wouldn't be too surprised if this one isn't actually a limited stock release. It might be, but the Warhammer website does now have a section for Red Corsairs, so it would make sense that this Combat Patrol is more permanent than the others. In terms of savings, we have to guess again since we don't know the prices of the Captain of the Red Corsairs as individual releases. I would hazard a guess it has around £145.50 of models inside it, or maybe as much as £150. So that would be a savings of either £40.50 or £45, which is not bad. If you did buy the current Red Corsair Battle Force, you will now have 2 Reeve Captains and 15 Red Corsairs. The Reeve Captains aren't bad, they can easily be kit-bashed or proxied into Chaos Lords, but it's mostly the Red Corsair Reavers that I don't really know how to feel about them. They're quite expensive for what they do, and while a unit to 10 of them is pretty decent, I don't really feel that any list needs more than 10 of them. That being said, the 5 Reavers can easily be kit-bashed or proxied into Chosen or just Legionnaires. As with the previous Combat Patrol, this one has a lot of mobility, which is a running theme of all 4 Combat Patrols and something I kind of like seeing. The Velgar are not amazing of a battlefield right now. That does not mean that they won't become amazing in the near future, but they are also quite nice models, so I don't really think there's much reason not to have them. They are quite good utility on the battlefield, and they're a cheap unit that can actually do relatively well in melee. If this is your start to an army, Rhino is a staple of chaos, and the Reeve Captain and Corsairs can form a decent core to your army. You can combine it with the current Space Marines Combat Patrol to get some cultists for more board control, and a unit of Possessed with Master of Possession for a decent moving melee threat. You'll also get some Legionnaires, which are a staple battle line unit with a lot of versatility. The only real thing you'll be lacking is some decent anti-tank. The third Combat Patrol is the Kroot box, and I quite like it. It's a collection of amazing models, and even though there's only around 290 points in there, it's not too bad, because we know the price of models in this, There's £147.50 worth of models, giving you a savings of £42.50, which is pretty decent. You've got quite a few fast-moving units, all can handle themselves in melee, all have quite a lot of utility, and you've also got quite a bit of shooting. Since they are so cheap points-wise, they can be slotted into any army quite easily. 3 of these boxes would give you almost 1,000 points worth of Kroot. And you can always remove the hounds to play for Farstalkers as just standard carnivores, which would give you sticky objectives. I wouldn't say it combos well or badly with the current Tau Combat Patrol, they're just too different from one another. If you want this many Kroot in your army, you probably should be designing your army around the Kroot. That being said, if you already have quite a large Tau army, the Kroot can be a nice addition. The main thing the Kroot lack in general is anti-tank capability, so the best Tau units to add to them is anything with a big railgun or fusion cannon, such as the Hammerhead, Broadside or Crisis battlesuits. Otherwise, Kroot actually have a pretty decent shooting phase and melee phase. They aren't amazing in either, but they shouldn't be underestimated in either case. If you want to start Tau, I would recommend getting a current combat patrol over this one, but if you particularly want to start a solo Kroot army, then this box is well worth picking up, maybe even more than once. The final combat patrol is for Night Lords, and I feel really conflicted here. I am personally building quite a large Night Lord army, and I absolutely love my Night Lords. But this box just doesn't feel good. It's worth £150 because of the Nemesis class and Chaos Lords being really expensive for what they are. So you do save £45, which is not too shabby at all. But your Jump Pack Lord can't join either of the units in the box. Also, if you really want to go with the theme of Night Lords, Chosen aren't a particularly Night Lord-esque unit. We would be much better off with the new Raptors in this box rather than the Chosen. The Rhino is also a weird choice because the Nemesis claws really don't need a Rhino. And Rhinos, again, they're not the most Night Lord-esque unit out there. The Nemesis claws do have stealth and arguably better outside the Rhino. The Rhino is fine for transporting your Chosen, but it does have room for over 10 models and there's only 5 Chosen. You can combine it with the current Chaos Combat Patrol. Again, it's not a very Night Lordy looking combat patrol, but in terms of just how it would play, it gives you much needed extra board control and infantry. But the Jump Pack Lord will still lack a unit to join. If you bought the Red Corsair Battle Force, ignoring the Jump Pack Lord, this would actually be a good box to combine with it. The Rhino gives your Red Corsairs much needed mobility. The Nemesis claws work really well in the Renegade Warband detachment. Traitor Guard offer cheap range support and board control. And the Legionnaires are always a very versatile unit. Chosen also do very well in both of the Chaos detachments, the new ones. And Horan Squad is best actually joining Chosen. If you are starting Chaos and pick up this combat patrol with a Raptor squad, you'll probably be in for a good time. None of the units are bad. In fact, they're all quite good. They're all fun models, and you should have plenty of spare bits for future kit bashing. And that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching this far. Don't forget to like the video, and here's some other videos that you might want to see. So, thank you for watching. Goodbye, everyone. Bye-bye.